Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence, and by Dow Automotive Systems, innovations for clean powertrain solutions.
This is Autoline Daily for March 3rd, 2011, and now the news. Recently, Renault made a big stink that it was the victim of espionage. The company fired 3 of its employees, accusing them of selling electric vehicle secrets to the Chinese. Even the French intelligence service was involved in the investigation. But now the company is saying, oh, never mind, we made a mistake. Bloomberg reports that Renault is now saying it was misled and might be the victim of fraud. But I ask, what is going on here? This makes no sense at all, and it tells me that something else is going on that we don't know about yet. Over 100 years ago, or certainly nearly 100 years ago, Henry Ford revolutionized the auto industry with his $5 a day wages for his workers so that they could afford the very cars that they built. Now, Geely's chairman, Li Shufu, called the Henry Ford of China, is proposing to increase wages and benefits for assembly line workers. Currently, they make between $3,300 and $7,500 a year, depending on where they work. Mr. Lee describes those on the line as overworking, underpaid, and underprivileged, and says the government needs to protect their rights through legal means. He also believes it will change the image of China's auto industry as a producer of low-quality products. You know, this guy's going to turn out to be a hero in China. Autoline Daily has learned what it costs to make the batteries in the Chevrolet Volt and the Nissan LEAF. Pat Davis, the head of vehicle technologies at the Department of Energy, tells us that the cost of batteries in electric cars today runs at about $800 per kilowatt hour. Well, since the Volt has an 8 kilowatt hour battery pack, that means it costs roughly $6,400. And since the LEAF has a 22 kilowatt hour battery pack, that means it costs roughly $17,600. Davis says the DOE expects battery costs to drop by more than half to around $300 per kilowatt hour by 2015. That would drop the cost of a battery in the Volt to $2,400 and bring it down to $6,600 in the Nissan LEAF. As we reported yesterday, GM's new car sales in the American market shot up more than any other automaker last month. And there's no question that GM increased its incentive spending to get there. But Mark Royce, the president of GM's North American operations, tells Autoline Daily they got that huge increase in sales without spending a lot of money. He says they were able to capture a lot of Saturn buyers since the company knew exactly when their leases were up. They were able to move those Saturn buyers into Chevrolets. Royce tells Autoline that General Motors is not capacity constrained, and that by using the principles of revenue management, it can boost sales in a very cost-effective way. If you've ever been to the Detroit Auto Show, you know COBO Center is way out of date. Built in the 1950s, the facility is in serious need of an upgrade, and that is about to happen under a 3-year, $221 million plan to renovate the building. The project will convert the attached arena into an additional 40,000 square feet of convention space. It'll also transform the Soviet-era facade into a flashy digital signboard, and they're making all kinds of system upgrades inside, plus 20% more parking spaces. Work is scheduled to be wrapped up in time for the 2014 Auto Show, and hit the link in today's show notes to watch a fly-through video of what it's all going to look like. Speaking of shows, there's still one going on in Switzerland. Hyundai just unveiled a stylish new station wagon in Geneva called the i40. It's based off the Sonata. Interestingly, it was developed in Rüsselsheim, Germany, specifically for the European market. Last week we reported on Sergio Marchionne's pay, and now it's Dieter Zetsches' turn. According to Bloomberg, the Daimler chairman's salary doubled last year to 8.7 million euros. That's about 12 million bucks. And you know, Sergio has got to be jealous. Fiat paid him a little less than $5 million last year, a 27% cut from 2009. Hey, coming up next, time for You Said It.
reducing exhaust emissions, aerified diesel particulate filters, high filtration, low back pressure, small package size, excellent durability. DowAerify.com.
And now it's time for some of your questions. Yesterday's report on new car sales in the American market generated quite a few questions and comments. Phoenix Mark wants to know, sales look good compared to last year. How is the month-over-month trend looking? They've got to be good with a 13.3 million SAR. That's right, Phoenix Marks. In January, the SAR was 12.5 million, so sales really shot up in February. Lee Boot was surprised to see the sales results for mid-size cars. He asks, Hyundai Sonata was not in the top 5? No, it wasn't. In fact, if you look at all passenger cars, the Hyundai Sonata just barely made it into the top 10. Ron Paris says, thanks for all those fascinating February sales figures, but one segment is conspicuously absent. What's happening with plug-in electric sales? Are the Volt and LEAF doing as poorly as I think they are? You're the one with the word subscription. Let's hear the complete story. Okay, Chevrolet Volt February sales, 281. Nissan LEAF sales, 67. And that is the complete story. John 787 says, let's get the facts straight, John McElroy. The Volt battery is also temperature controlled. Why is it nobody wants to give GM any credit? When it comes to Ford, whenever they do something, it's the greatest. Well, all I can tell you is that in my experience, the Volt lost nearly half of its driving range in sub-freezing weather. Ford claims its liquid-heated battery will not suffer the same problem, but they better be telling the truth, because we will excoriate them if that turns out not to be the case. Lex wants to know, why isn't OnStar offered on other non-GM vehicles? Well, you know, it used to be. Acura, Audi, Isuzu, Subaru, and Volkswagen used to offer OnStar. But then GM decided it was too much of a competitive advantage and stopped offering it to other car companies. But as we reported a month or so ago, OnStar is now going to be available in the aftermarket and can be installed on any car. Hey, don't forget to join us tonight for Autoline After Hours. Our guest will be David Madeira, the president of the LeMay Museum, which will be the largest public car museum when it's completed. Join me and the auto extremist Peter DeLorenzo tonight on Autoline After Hours. And that's today's report on the top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.